Gervonta Tank Davis, King Ryan Garcia.
The power of Davis!
The flash, the hand speed.
Two undefeated stars, two journeys, one mega fight to make history.
It's over! It doesn't get any better than this!
Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia, Saturday, April 22nd, live on pay-per-view.
Basketball season is entering its final stage. There's one final push needed before the playoffs.
Got to head into the playoffs strong. Our DraftKings family is bringing high-stakes action to all new customers as the playoffs approach.
Calling all new customers. Place a bet on the pregame moneyline wager. If your pick hits, you get $150 in bonus bets.
You heard Jack. New customers bet $5 on any pregame moneyline wager, and you'll get $150 in bonus bets if your pick cashes.
DraftKings has been around for a while, so you know your money is safe. What you waiting for? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use promo code SMOKE. Bet $5 on any pregame moneyline wager and get $150 in bonus bets if your bet hits. That's promo code SMOKE, only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Once you clock off work on Friday, head over to DraftKings Sportsbook app and see the All the Smoke Same Game Parlay.
We'll be cooking up a new same game parlay every Friday. So ride with all the smoke, fam. The action only happens at DraftKings Sportsbook.
I mean, you hear about that LeBron, you know,
Yeah.
he's frugal too. I mean, guys with a ton of money, I mean, I respect it. You know what I mean? That's the way you hold on to it. Me, on the other hand.
Me, on the other hand.
What else you say? Let it burn.
I'm going to have me a full water bed sitting outside before I even get the keys.
Welcome into What's Burnin'. Matt and Stak in the building. And look at the building, guys.
Yeah.
We made it nice for you.
A little smoky.
Nice.
Right?
We just have to christen it off air.
I was going to say, I'm kind of surprised that hasn't happened yet already. Always, always good when we get Steven Jackson in the state of California. It must be playoff time, so let's get to it. All right, playoff series are locked, at least some of them. And I want to start out west because Matt Barnes' Kings are facing Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson's Warriors. So what do we think about the Matt Barnes Bowl? First of all, atmosphere and Stak. You've been up there a lot this season.
Yeah, I think it's going to be incredible. I mean, we've all seen what Arco Arena used to be in the early 2000s in the Kings' heyday. I think the city has desperately been waiting for this 16-year drought. The one team I didn't want to play was, I'm speaking like I'm a king, but the one team I didn't want them to play was the Warriors. And it's not that I don't think they can beat them. I just think that experience plays so heavy in the playoffs, and that's the one thing the Kings lack. So I think it's going to be a fun series. It's going to be an explosive series. You know, two high-octane offenses. What scares me a little bit, though, again, is Kings' inexperience and their bottom of the standings in defensive rating. I think the Warriors are in the middle. I think the Warriors are 10 in offense and like 14 in defense. You know, their offense is going to turn itself on come playoff time. So it's going to be fun. Two great home court advantages. Kings are great on the road. Warriors are bad on the road. So I think, you know, obviously the Kings get a little nod on that side, but then the Warriors are great at home. So, Rachel, I'm really torn. I'll be up there working every single game and praying for the best.
It's no road games in this series.
Oh, you think so?
It's no road games.
You think there's going to be Warriors fans?
It's too close. It's too
and
close.
Stak fans in both
when
cities?
I played with Golden State and we played Sacramento, we drove home after the game. So that's how close it is.
Doing what?
Blowing it down. Hey, but you say they're not good at defense, and that's crazy because Mike Brown comes from a defensive background. He's known as a defensive coach. But I'm with you. I just think the Warriors, they always turn it on around this time. It's going to be good for Sacramento going forward, though, to get this experience. You know, they made it here. This is the first step to get to the playoffs.
Right.
Now I think they're going to learn a lot in this first round, but I don't think they're going to make it out past the Warriors.
When the Warriors made it like to the halfway point of the season and they were so much worse on the road than they were at home, I was like, that's fine. They're not going yet. And even in the last few months, they haven't had Wiggins, you know, and he's coming back. But, like, I still don't quite understand the disparity. Can you guys explain to me? Because the Warriors are going in, I think they're, 28th in defense when they're on the road? That's crazy. And you put that up against the Kings' high-powered offense. You look at those games in Sacramento, that's not a matchup I would want. Right. How is it so different for a veteran team? They shouldn't be that affected by who's in the stands.
You know, the game slows down. I tell everybody that it's different levels from round one to it's different levels of basketball. And to have that experience, I really didn't understand it until I got to San Antonio.
Okay.
You know what I mean? When they say, well, the experience matters. And when I got there and seen him my first couple years when I didn't play, I understood what it, around Steve Kerr and Steve Smith and learning from them. I seen the experience because I thought I was good, but those guys have been in the league for a while and they knew the game. So that's what's going to happen with Golden State. They have championship experience. They have all these guys that have been together for so long. This is going to be a learning lesson for Sacramento.
I think to your point, Rich, I think the Warriors give up 10 more points on the road than they do at home, which is crazy. And obviously, you never think teams can turn a switch on, but I think this team can turn a switch on. My question is, can the younger guys and the newer guys turn that switch on? You know, the vets can do it. I mean, their core, their core has had a dynasty run. So, those guys will be ready when the time comes. But again, Rich, obviously, outside looking in, this is still the defending champs, and I don't think too many people are giving the Kings a chance, but I definitely think they do have a chance from a standpoint if they just have such a high-power offense. But I posed this question when I was on air when the Warriors played the Kings. Can the Kings beat the Warriors at their own game?
Right.
So obviously the Kings are the number one offense, but whose offense do they run?
Yeah.
They run the Warriors' offense. Spacing, shooting, cutting, screening. That's the Warriors' offense. So to me, it's going to be hard to beat the originators at their game. But with that being said, I think it could be anyone's game. I think it's going to be a blast. Two great basketball environments, the first time ever, the Highway 80 battle, so to speak. So I'm excited just to be involved. And, obviously, my heart is with the Kings right now because it's new to them. But, we're also, we're sworn in Warriors till we die. So
what is Wiggins and Payton going to bring? That's
going
to be big.
A lot.
That's going to be big.
Wiggins, they just today said Wiggins will be back for game one. So two big pickups that you mentioned, Jack. So it's going to be uphill sledding for the Kings, but great test, and this is where you earn your stripes.
Yep.
Look, a team like the Warriors that is the defending champs, and the Warriors, until they're out, to me, they have a good chance to win the title.
Right.
That's just how
Agreed.
I feel about it. I will say, just to get into the building for Game 1 in Sacramento, the lowest price ticket is $430. Matt, I think your seat is free.
More expensive than it is in
San
Francisco.
People in San Francisco, they're jaded. How many playoff games have they been to? Pshaw. But come on.
I'll be in the building for free. No, I asked for tickets because obviously we're going up there for all the smoke, and they're like, "Well, what's your price range?" I'm like, "What's a good lower level ticket?" $500 to $600 on average. I'm like, "That's the average lower level, and that's not even close. That's in the middle, right?"
That's per ticket.
Again, I'm happy for the city. I mean, it's been 16 years. I'm from there, so just happy to see the energy around, the light, the beams. I got plenty of them in my backpack, so we're gonna see I'm gonna be lighting the beams regardless, Rach.
I've seen you on social with those personal beams. It's all good.
Yes.
I want to get to the 4-5 matchup too. The Suns taking on the Clippers. No PG-13 for at least the start of the series, and to me, that's kind of the beginning and end of the sentence until he's back in. If he comes back, I don't know who defends all of the Suns players and all that firepower. What do you guys think?
We always talk about stay ready. Norman Powell, let's see what you got. They got him for a reason. He's been a great scorer. He's been a solid guy. Let's see if you can step up and hold it down if PG gets back. And that's what guys have to do. Everybody's making a lot of money in this league, Rachel. Everybody plays a certain role, but at certain times, certain guys have to step up when guys go down. And this is a big moment for him. But let's see, can he handle that moment? Because there's going to be guys like him that they're going to need to step up to win this series.
I think, to T-Lue and the Clippers' credit, they have one of the deepest rosters, and this is the reason why.
They
and
do.
if any team can play without a star, they know how to do it.
Yeah.
They lost Kawhi, and PG was still able to take them to the Western Finals a few years ago, but it's different now. This Phoenix team haven't lost since Kevin got on the team. Took on so much pressure off CP3, and I think a lot of people are forgetting about Aiden, who is a solid double guy. You know what Book's gonna do. We talked about before the show what Kevin Durant's splits are. The first player ever to go 50-40, 55-40, 90-92 from the free throw line. So I mean, he's just one of those rare superstars that you can pluck and put in anywhere, and it just seems to move seamlessly. So I want to say I wish the Clippers were fully healthy, but I also want to say that I feel like Russ has something to prove. And I think he's been playing a lot better with the Clippers, a team that's encouraging him and giving them all that positive energy. You saw him take that on the Lakers a week or so ago. So You know, I definitely still think the Clippers have a chance, but I think without a healthy PG, I would give the nod to Phoenix.
Well, look, there's no coming out party for a guy with multiple rings jingling in his pocket, but I do think this is going to be one of those Kevin Durant playoffs, if he is healthy, where we are just going to be reminded how just fucking good he is.
Right.
I mean, they are 8-0 since he got there, and it's not just what he does on the court. You mentioned the pressure he takes off Chris. We've been talking about that for the last couple of months. I was with them on Friday night, and DeAndre Ayton could not stop talking about sort of that multiplier effect that Kevin has had on him.
Right.
And I was talking to Monty, and he said, oh, you should see the example Kevin's setting to DeAndre about how hard he works. So I went over to Ayton, and I was like, oh, I heard you've been working out with Kevin. He's like, Rachel, he goes so hard in everything. He's like, we were hurt at the same time, so we were rehabbing together, and he was like going crazy on that. And then he's like, they spent a night staying up all night talking on a back-to-back. He said, we were up till 5 in the morning, and he was just telling me these stories about how he did this. And he's like, that's Kevin Durant. He looked at me, he was like, Kevin Durant's putting in that work, so then I've got to be doing that. And that's something I think every young player knows up here, but you see
You
it.
gotta see it and feel
It's
it.
such a different
Well, I think
thing.
to your point, Rachel, no one's been able to, from what I've heard, is turn on the light in Ayton.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's been such a rift over there between him and Monty, and then him arguing with his teammates sometimes. And I'm encouraged to hear that KD has been able to turn on that light, because Ayton is very good.
I've always
good.
really liked him. I think he's a
Yeah.
good kid. I think that
he's
he
very
sometimes
good.
hasn't always been in the situation to make him
Yeah.
flourish.
Yeah.
And here's a time and place where it seems like all of the pieces are there. He said that Kevin told him that he's one of the best, most talented centers he's ever played with. And he goes, he thinks that about me. And he was like, I told all my friends about that. I told my mom about that. I mean, that's great, right? That tells you, if Kevin Durant says something like that to you, how do you feel?
Well, I mean, a lot of guys been looking at, especially the last 2 years with the Suns, that it should have been Booker, Ayton 2, but it's always been Booker, Paul, Ayton. It should have been the other way around. I think they should have slid him into that second role. But I think KD has given him the confidence he needs now to make him feel like he belongs, to make him feel like he's a championship player, to make him feel like he's an all-star. Even, you know, just hearing it and having a guy like that on the team, it could give a lot of confidence to a young guy. Same thing what Tim Duncan did to me. So I get it.
That's what I was thinking of. Like, you've talked about that, how your relationship with Tim, it just takes your game to a whole new level. If he believes in you,
Yep.
that tells you. And DeAndre said that he told KD, he goes, I'm going to tell you this team is going to appreciate you the way no other team has ever appreciated you. So we'll see if that turns out to be the case. But I think that we could see a lot from them this playoffs. I do want to touch on the play-in games as well, especially the Pelicans, still being without Zion Williamson as they host the Thunder. The Athletic reported early in the week Zion was, quote, not even close to getting back on the floor, in part because his conditioning was so far off. Then the next day, Zion spoke to reporters himself. He said he feels good physically, but it's more about, quote, when I feel like Zion again. He said, when I go to make certain moves, there's that hesitation. Sometimes there's not, but sometimes there is, and I understand the magnitude of these games coming up, and I don't want to be out there hesitating or doing something that may affect my team in a bad way. That's a lot. What do you think of all that?
Trusting your injury, and that he's not new to that. Yeah, I think anyone can tell you that's come back from an injury of, you know, I had to trust my knee when I came back, and that's the hardest thing when they say, okay, you're healthy, but mentally you baby it or you hesitate, and I hear him in the playoffs is a place, or even the play-in is a place you can't be hesitating. I just think it's so unfortunate, you know, obviously Willie Green being my guy and the way this team started. This team was number 1 in the West early in the season, you know, kicking ass and taking names, and all of it resides around Zion. I mean, I love the pieces around him. I love Brandon Ingram. Love what C.J. McCollum's brought to this team on the floor and in the locker room. Again, love Willie Green. I love the pieces they have, but this team goes as far as Zion, and if he's not out there, even if they happen to beat OKC, I don't think they'll beat Minnesota, because I think the Lakers will beat Minnesota. I don't know if they'll beat Minnesota, so it's unfortunate because, I mean, he's just scratching the surface. I mean, when Zion is out there, he's playing off pure athleticism, strength, and talent. He hasn't even really started to figure out how to play the NBA game, and he's doing all these amazing things. So once he figures out the game, if he can get himself out there, he's going to be a problem.
So help me out. What exactly is his injury?
Hamstring, right? I think it's hamstring.
Okay, right. Okay. This is my thing. Okay, he's missed a lot of games, bro. A lot of games. Got his money, right? Missed a lot of games. At this point, bro, game 1, let's see what you got. That's where I'm at with it. Because, you know, like, let's just see what you got. And if you just can't go and it's looking that bad, yeah, we'll shut you down. But just let me see what you got at this point.
that.
It ain't. I don't think being off and rehab, whatever you've been doing, hasn't done anything for you because you've been out for so long. You've been hurt again. Like I think at this point, if you somewhere healthy where you think about playing and you're not confident mentally, you got to go out there and play and get your confidence by playing and see what you can do. Sitting there thinking about it, well, I'm not confident. You don't know. Go ahead and give it a shot. Then if you hurt and you can't go, then that's one thing. But I think your teammates will respect you more if you try to give it a shot. This is the playoff. This is not preseason. You know what I mean? We have a shot to do something great. I think he should just give it a shot and see what he got, man. I don't think just sitting out is the answer.
I'm definitely not mad at that. And you think if he happens to tweak it, you got the whole summer to heal the tweak.
It's a hamstring. It's not an Achilles, it's a hamstring, right? It's a hamstring.
Well, look, I'm sure that there's fans in New Orleans who hear the word hesitation and they're like, "Fine, go hesitate on the court. Like we're okay with that." Exactly. I'm not a pro athlete, though.
Hesitate your motherfucking ass on that court, huh?
Right? I don't know if that then leads to more injury. I can't put myself in those shoes, but right. I do know that to the fans, that there's some frustration among the fan base.
Well, I mean, also too, and not to kind of be
that's
off subject,
my frustration because I want to see him play.
Mm-hmm.
We remember how slow, and obviously different injuries, but Embiid was out the gates. Yeah. Remember, Embiid was hampered by foot injuries and issues coming out the gate, and we all wanted, because we saw flashes. Man, we can't wait to see what this guy's got. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So being able to be in and out early on, I mean, it's just, I'm sure it's tough for him. It's tough for the fans. It's tough for the team, and you do kind of wonder like how are his teammates looking at him at this point too. So that's kind of a good point, Jack. So
I played with guys that had, matter of fact, Baron Davis. It's documented. You remember that? Yeah. He had a hamstring basically pull and a bad knee all in one leg in the playoffs that year would beat Dallas, and he found a way to get through it.
And dunked on Caroline.
And not even being the top Baron. But just having him on the court was what we needed. You know what I mean? So sometimes just him being out there would uplift the team. Exactly.
Good point.
Yeah. Well, no one's inside his body but him. But you just like as a fan, you want to see him play. He's so talented. You want to see him play. All right. Let's get over to the East 4-5 match. Knicks Cavs. Let's get some juice, baby. Julius Randle's status uncertain. That's the only bummer. I mean, they do think he'll play, but it will be on a bad ankle. Jalen Brunson versus Donovan Mitchell. All right. They faced off last year in the West, Dallas, Utah, but this is a very different circumstance. The Donovan Mitchell Bowl. Stak, what do you think here?
I think Donovan Mitchell's gonna go crazy. I think he just got a point to prove. I think this is gonna be a big moment for the coach too in Cleveland. This is gonna be a step up for him to coach these guys out of the first round. I love the fact that New York, the Knicks are back in the playoffs. I mean, it's good. I'm not really, a Knicks fan. You know how much I hate on the Knicks, but
at least you know it.
And I definitely know it. I got the Knicks and the Giants. I'm a Cowboy, so I hate everything over there. But it's good to see them back in the playoffs, Rach. And basketball is always good when playoff basketball is being played at the Garden. Yeah, ain't no question about that. And but they got there, but this is where it stops.
I think the storyline of what could have been with Mitchell possibly could have been a Knick is great. I hate that Julius Randle won't be 100% because he was playing so well before he got hurt.
He's had a great season.
So well before he got hurt, and I think Jalen Brunson's addition took so much pressure off him. And I think at the beginning of last year, everyone's thinking like, why would they pay Jalen Brunson $100 million? I think he's underpaid. Jalen Brunson has had an incredible year, changed the energy around that franchise, and I think they would have had a shot versus Cleveland if Julius was 100% healthy. But with that being said, and things are what they are, I agree. I think Mitchell's going to go crazy. He's got a great supporting cast, but I think that's going to be probably one of the best round one matchups.
Quickly might have a big series.
Oh, I think he will, for sure. I think the fact that the first two games are in Cleveland, like we knew for a while those teams were probably going to face each other in the first round, but it was sort of who's going to be the 4, who's going to be the 5. I do think that with the Cavs kind of having that home court advantage first is going to put them on good footing in the series. If you're the Knicks, if you're a Knicks fan, and you, if you're Brian Daly sitting there, I thought he was over in the corner. I guess not. All right.
That's his lookalike standing.
That's right. No. I just saw the corner of my eye over here, but it's Mr. Dillon. If you're a Knicks fan and you look back and you see Donovan Mitchell drop 71 over the course of the season, he's had this spate coming into the playoffs of 40-point-plus games. Do you still wish he was a Knick, or are you very happy with the way things turned out that you didn't mortgage part of your team?
I think you wish he's a Knick. I mean, that's fans' dreams are always what kind of stars we can get, but I think reality is what it is. But what you said, Rachel, I mean, if the Knicks can go in there and steal a game in Cleveland,
well, then yes, the whole thing changes.
who knows?
As a Knicks fan, they don't feel nothing. You know how many players they supposed to get and didn't get over the last 5 to 10 years? No, they're not even fit. They numb to everything now. They don't feel nothing over there in New York.
I'm just wondering. I've heard Knicks fans. You know, I lived in New York for a long time, so I had a lot of Knicks fan friends, and who felt like we don't even the way things worked out. We wouldn't even wanted him because we would have given away too much. That kind of thing. I don't know. I think you always want Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell, motherfucker, bro.
This is my opinion. All right, guys. I want to talk a little bit about postseason awards since we have now reached the cutoff. I turned in my ballot yesterday. I want to hear who you think your winners are. And let's start with Defensive Player of the Year. Very close race. Jaren Jackson Jr., Brooke Lopez, Evan Mobley in the mix. Who you got, Stak?
Now that I sit back and think about it, he's been dominant for the last couple of years in this category. I'm going with Jaren Jackson.
Okay.
Yeah, just the way he's helped change the culture over there in Memphis. Having a shot blocker definitely helps the team, so I got to go with Jaren.
I'm going to go with Brooke Lopez, and I think the way he's been able to reinvent himself at his older age and still, be a stretch five, but be someone who is a shot changer, a shot blocker, and a key rebounder for that team. But Rachel, what's weird to me is he's not even the best defensive player on that team.
Right.
And somehow he's in the top, and that's that's a great sign for the Bucks.
Well, wait, let me ask you a question. So we're talking about Drew Holiday, by the way, who I think is the best perimeter defender in the league. But would you say that Drew Holiday is a better defender overall than Brooke Lopez?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Because he always takes the toughest player and always slows them down. I mean, good offense is always going to be good defense, but Drew Holiday is, I don't think he's underrated anymore because we were saying that when we first started. Man, he's the most underrated. I think people understand his talent now, and he's been able to win a championship. But I still think I think he's underappreciated, maybe is the word. And then the thing, too, Giannis plays defense, too. So Bucks are going to be scary. But, yeah, my pick is I'm going to give Brooke Lopez because I know Jaren Jackson's going to win probably 3 or 4 of these defensive players a year throughout his career.
Ooh, well, I voted for Jaren Jackson Jr. I'm with you, Stak, for sure. I do know that I want to go to Brooke Lopez's doctor, though, because whatever he did over these past couple years, I want to do. Most improved player. A lot of guys really stepped up and rose to the occasion. You going Lauren Markkinen, or you going Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, or who you
like
going?
the jump Markkinen has made, but I like Shai, man. Shai is a killer. What he's been able to do for this team that everyone in the world wrote off at the beginning of the season. I think even the team management wrote that team off. And how he's been able to rally these young guys together. And obviously, again, shout out to management because they always do such a great job of acquiring young pieces and picks. And you really saw flashes of what's to come in this next 2 or 3 years from Oklahoma City.
Dude, that team's going to be scary.
I'm gonna go with SGA on my most improved.
It's easy for me too. SGA, no question about it.
No, this idea with most improved, some people think it's got to be sort of a more kind of
marginal player.
Yeah, more marginal player, that kind of thing. I don't know. Over the years, I've voted for all kinds of guys who, when they make that leap to being a genuine star, to me, that's
huge.
That's the improvement we're all looking for, right?
I mean, Julius Randle could be on that list.
100%.
I mean, the jump he's made, but to think that Shai is going to be possibly the most improved, and I think he's all NBA, Rach. I don't know how you feel, but I think Shai is all NBA player as well, too. So, big off season for him. Big off season awards coming up for Shai, I feel like.
When you think about that trade, by the way, and look, I'm not going to criticize the Clippers because it was made clear to them they couldn't get Kawhi without making that deal for Paul George, so they were really trading for both players. However, when you look at what will go in the NBA record of what that trade was, I mean, think about the draft picks that went in Oklahoma City's direction. If you just had Paul George versus Shai Gilgeous-Alexander straight up, a lot of people would have picked Shai in that trade. So with the way things have turned out.
And you remember Doc, the trade almost didn't happen because Doc didn't want to trade Shai.
Nope. It's almost like Doc Rivers knows what he's doing. Lastly, the MVP three-person race. Joel Embiid, by the way, has been talking about this, especially with us. I've got a new show up here on Showtime called Headliners.
Yeah,
Headliners.
He had something to say. Take a listen.
What would it mean to you to finally win the MVP after 2 times as a runner-up?
I don't know. I think one thing I'll say is that, if people tell you that they don't care about it, they're lying. That's the best award you can get as a basketball player. It means a lot, But if I were to win it, it would be, it would validate all the work that I put in. that's why I cared. That's why I cared about it, because you put in so much work, you know, and if you get that recognition, it just validates that you didn't waste your time. But, you know, like I said, if someone tells you that they don't care, that's bullshit.
I think he's the MVP this year, not only for what he's done offensively and led the league in scoring. I mean, a 3-level scorer, one of the most complete scorers we've ever seen, despite how big he is. He can do it all. And on the defensive end, too, I think he doesn't get appreciated enough on the defensive end for his ability to block and change shots and rebound. But at the same time, I also agree with what Giannis said last week, that he feels like he should be the MVP the last 5 years, and I can't argue that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's certain guys that are in the mix constantly, and Giannis is one of them. When you look at his numbers, what he's been able to do for his team without Middleton this year, particularly in that, you know, they lead the league in wins. I agree with him, but at the same time, it's definitely Embiid's turn, because I think he possibly could have got one, you know, in the last 2 years that both went to Jokic, with all due respect.
I'll go with Embiid too, and he's right. Everybody cares, because 9 out of 10 times those guys that's about to win the MVP award or have a chance to, they got incentives in their contracts. If they win MVP, they get an extra $1 million. So all those guys care. But I think he deserves it. You know, he's been dominant for a while now, Rach. They was talking about his health, playing all the games now. He just deserves it. I just think just the way he plays the game and all the things he does at that size is just special. He got a lot of things you can't teach. So I think if any year he deserves it, is this year.
It's interesting what you say about Giannis. Not only does he think he should be the MVP and should have been for the last 5 years, if you talk to voters, and there's guys who have come out and said who they're voting for, they've these straw polls that Tim Bontemps does over at ESPN, they're putting Giannis second, second to Jokic, second to Embiid, and then the other guy's third. You could have a scenario this year where Giannis ends up second on a lot of people's ballots, but still ends up winning MVP. First place vote gets you 10 points. So if I fill out my ballot, the first place guy is 10 points. The guy I put second gets 7 points from me. And the guy who gets third gets 5 points from me. Well, you could end up with someone who doesn't have first place, but because they have consistent seconds. What would you think if we had an MVP because of someone's second place votes?
Well, if it's Giannis, I won't be mad.
Okay.
But if you know what I'm saying, I'll be cool with it. But if it's somebody else, yeah, I probably would think they need to redo it over.
Well, that's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, that's interesting. I never knew the point system. But yeah, I mean, I think it's all but sealed and done. I think it'll be Giannis's this year, or excuse me, it'll be Embiid's MVP this year. But again, you know, I think everyone in this room feels that Giannis is year in, year out can be that guy. But there's been guys like Kobe, year in, year out could be Bron.
Bron could have won 5 years in a row.
Shaq could have been year in, year out.
How did Kobe have? I'm sorry, I'm going to keep going back. How did Kobe get one MVP?
Bullshit.
I mean, know why? Yeah.
Bullshit.
Come on.
So, Rach, I heard you've been on the road shaking and baking, getting back in the mix. Tell us a little bit more about headliners. I heard you're coming out the gates with some heavy hitters.
Yeah, we got Joel Embiid on the first episode, so that's going to be fun. It's been great sitting and talking to guys. It's what you guys do on All the Smoke, getting back into the deep background on stuff. One of the things that was fun for me with Joel was even just back in his days in Cameroon, he used to have to sneak out of the house just to play sports. His parents were heavy hardcore that he should just be on the school books. And so he detailed his whole plan of how he would sneak out the window. His mom would lock the door sometimes to try to catch him.
How could he sneak out the window?
Right, exactly. He said that they played in bare feet a lot back in Cameroon so that she would check the bottoms of his feet. I love that.
Got it.
You know, we talked about some of more emotional moments. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but his brother died when he was a rookie. And kid was 13 years old walking home from school, hit by a truck, and it just wrecked him. And he went home for the funeral and did not want to get back on the plane to come back. He was, of course, hurt, had broken his foot, wasn't playing anyway. He thought he was just going to give up right there. So to have experiences like that and to come back and at this point be the lead favorite for MVP, it was really inspiring to talk to him about some of that stuff. He's also cheap as hell. Yeah, I found out in doing research for the interview, he wouldn't buy himself a couch when he first started playing. He's won millions of dollars with his first rookie contract, number 3rd pick overall. He just had 2 chairs pushed together like this because he said he didn't want to spend money on a couch. Someone had to give him a couch for free.
But you got to probably think what he was used to back at the crib. So 2 chairs is an upgrade, probably.
Word.
I'm just saying.
But it's weird because you kind of, I mean, you hear about that LeBron, you know,
Yeah.
he's frugal too. I mean, guys with a ton of money, I mean, I respect it. You know what I mean? That's the way you hold on to it. Me, on the other hand.
What
else you say? Let it burn.
I'm going to have me a full water bed sitting outside before I even get the keys.
It's in a water bed.
He said that he's still never bought a piece of jewelry, nor does he own one. Do you think he's the only NBA player without a single piece of jewelry? Not even a watch.
He don't own a watch?
No, not even a nice watch.
That's going to change.
Do you think you could get one when you get the MVP?
Yeah, he's going to get him a nice one.
I don't know. So we got some great shows coming up. I'm really excited about it. Hall of Fame guests. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm real grateful for the opportunity.
We're going to lean on you to steal some guests from you, too.
Yep.
Yeah,
we need to get some of your guests.
Do it.
Give you some of our
Well,
guests.
you know, my grand plan is to do it all together. So we're going to still work on that as well. All right, guys, let's talk a little Top Shot. Legendary moments. Playoffs live forever on NBA Top Shot. From the first round to the final whistle, you can collect alongside the action and win a trip to the NBA Finals. Now, that's exciting. I didn't know that. All right. Stakes just got a little higher here in NBA Top Shot land. It's starting now until April 30th. Every pack of officially licensed collectibles you buy will enter you to win that trip. On April 17th, a new collectible experience called Redemptions arrives on Top Shot. Just in time for the playoffs, it gives basketball fans a totally unique way to collect their favorite players' best NBA playoff highlights as they happen. So, each redemption you own can be traded for exclusive and limited edition moments from the first round, conference semis, conference finals, and NBA finals. All of this is to say, Matt Barnes, which player do you think is going to be the most breakout player in the playoffs that Top Shot's going to keep an eye on?
I don't know about breakout because he's been breaking shit. Is KD?
Yeah, this is
I think it's going to be a great playoff run for him, and I'm praying he and his team stay healthy. I'm praying everybody stay healthy, but particularly KD.
I just feel like this guy's going to have a crazy playoff run this year because of everything that's been said and the way he's been playing going to the end of the season. Anthony Davis.
Ooh, I hope so, too.
I think Anthony Davis is going to go crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we can't talk about the Lakers because they'll already have played by the time this show airs.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I'm just saying I'm excited. Well, we could talk about it. I'm excited for the run they could possibly make.
We're taping this on a Tuesday. By the time you guys are listening or watching this, it'll be Wednesday. You'll know what happens. You'll know in the future. Hi, all of you in the future. You're going to know what happens in that game. Even if the Lakers somehow lose to Minnesota, they'll still have the chance to still be in it and play on Friday.
I don't think they're going to lose.
They are heavily favored to win, which puts them into the first round of the playoffs. And man, they are set up to possibly make a run there. They're going to be, if they get that 7th seed, they'd be playing a team that doesn't have the front court defense that they had before with Steven Adams now hurt.
And Jaren Jackson is a foul prone too.
Yep.
I mean, Rach, this is one time, not to kind of go off topic, but I wouldn't be surprised if any of the top 3 seeds in the West got bumped in the first round.
What about all of them?
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. I mean, as much as I want the Kings to win, I mean, it's an uphill battle. The bottom of the West is so strong this year, and those bottom teams have more experience than the top teams, and they're hot at the right time.
Yep. It's going to be very interesting. Well, guys, by owning redemption of a star player, you can help define the future of that player's playoff journey on Top Shot. So start your collection, play alongside the playoffs. Head to NBATopShot.com today. Let's get back to On the Radar, presented by DraftKings, the only sports book you need for the 2023 playoffs. NBA champ. The playoffs are officially starting, so it's time. Make your pick, fellas. We got Bucks as the favorite at plus 265. Celtics next, plus 320. Suns the favorite in the West, 425. Sixers at 900. Warriors 950. Nuggets at 1100. Make your pick.
I'm going Warriors. Get your money, baby.
I was gonna say that'd be some good money.
Get your money.
Right? 950.
If you're a gambler and you're trying to make some money, Rach, this is a safe bet for you. Trust me. Let's eat.
Well, since he's picking the Warriors, I'm gonna stay out west too.
He's not biased either, so.
I'm gonna stay out. I want my brother CP to get a ring. So I'm picking the Suns to win it.
That's a safe bet.
Yeah, that's safe. I mean, I think it's going to be so good. I mean, I think Milwaukee is tough. Boston gets hot. They're tough. And then you look in the Western Conference, I think Phoenix and Golden State are the 2 best teams in the Western Conference as we stand. So I think it's going to be fun.
It's going to be good. You know, I meant to say when we were talking about headliners, one of the guests we had was Dirk Nowitzki.
Oh.
And he had quite a lot to say about that 2007 series. The thing that made me smile the most was him talking about how after you guys thumped him out of the playoffs, the We Believe Warriors, he wanted to go home. He wanted to go back to Germany. And he couldn't because they were going to give him the MVP. So he had to stick around. Very, very interesting stuff. He had a lot to say about you guys. All right.
Shout out Dirk.
There you go.
Oh, legend.
Closing thoughts here. Houston has decided not to pick up the option on Steven Silas after 3 seasons. His record there was 59-177. Detroit's Dwayne Casey, meanwhile, has coached his last game with the Pistons. He's going to move upstairs to the front office. So we've already heard Kenny Atkinson has been given permission from the Golden State Warriors, where he's an assistant, to go interview in Houston. Is he someone you'd like to see get one of those jobs? Is there anyone else you'd like to see get one of those jobs?
First of all, shout out Steve Silas. They put him in a position to to fail.
No win.
You know, that's my cousin. And he's been going through a lot with his father passing, and he held it together the whole season. So kudos to him, man. I don't think he had got a fair shot. But it has to be somebody, Rachel, that understands the culture. They have a lot of young kids there. They have a lot of young guys that's still learning their way in the NBA, that's still learning how to be professionals, that need somebody with some type of experience there. You know what I'm saying? They need somebody with experience and that has a little culture. I don't know who it is because I haven't really been looking, but it's going to have to be somebody that has the best of both worlds.
Well, I mean, I think that's interesting, Jack, particularly with that team, because we'll call it that's a young African American team.
Yes.
So you have you never want to play the race card, but like you said, Jack, they have to fit that culture, and this new culture is a lot different than when we played, and that's a good thing. You know, in their way, they're a lot different. So to have someone come in that they're going to respect first and foremost is going to be huge. And I don't know Kenny Atkinson enough to say they wouldn't respect him.
Yeah.
But from the outside looking in, I don't know if that is a fit, and I could be wrong. I'm wrong a lot, but I think you made a huge point. Whoever coaches that team, and they have to understand the culture, respect the culture, and be able to wiggle within that culture, because that is a very young team that is out there.
And then like the Houston culture, like James, he understood the Houston culture. He did his job on the court, but he understood, and that's why they love him so much, and that's why he had a lot of success there, because he understood the
I heard he might be going back.
That'll be dope. That'll be dope. They can't wait to have him back.
I seen someone at a New Edition concert the other night that told me that.
That'll be dope.
Rumored. I mean, you know, there's some local businesses in Houston that would be happy if he came back.
His own as well.
So
his own as well.
I don't know. Here's my question to you. If you're Houston, do you try to hire a new coach now, or do you wait until the draft lottery to see if a certain young man from France is going to be in your future?
I think you play it out and see what happens first.
And that job could become extremely attractive.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sure it can entice some coaches. The coach pool can get deeper if they get Wembanyama. Is that how you say his name?
And there's some great NBA players that had a lot of success in the tournament this year coaching. They need to look at some of those guys. Jerry Stackhouse and a lot of those guys. I think he'll be a good fit in Houston for his first job.
We will see. All right, I'm going to see Detroit too. I just want to hit on the Dallas before we leave. Mavericks GM Nico Harrison met with the media, clarified a couple things. First of all, he made it clear that while Kyrie did not do any sort of exit interview with the media after the season, he did do one with the team. So that's important. He didn't skip out on that. Nico said it went well on all sides, and he expressed, quote, optimism that Kyrie will re-sign there this summer. So, Stak, you are close to Kai. What do you expect?
Well, Kai been knowing Nico for a long time. So if Nico said he has a good feeling that it can go either way, you know, I'll rock with that, and I'll stick with that. I haven't talked to Kyrie because he's been going through a lot, Rach, and I know a lot of people have been pulling at him. So I kind of not been reaching out to him as much because I know he's been playing and getting traded during the season. I know how tough all that stuff is, so I've been respecting the space. But one thing I can see is, and I know about Kyrie, he would love to continue his relationship with Luke and J. Kidd. Both point guards, they all see the game the same way, and he look up to guys like J. Kidd. So if it works, they'll be good. But if not, I see him in L.A.
I'll say when the Lakers want someone, they get it. No matter what the cap is, no matter what they have to do, when the Lakers want someone, they get them. So it'll definitely be a Kyrie watch this season.
Lakers only have so much money, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But when they want someone, they make it happen. So we shall see.
You expect to see him in the purple and gold?
I don't expect to see him back in Dallas, to be honest with you. I just don't know if that was a very good fit. Although they didn't have a ton of time to play together, so I could, it may need some time to brew, but I just don't think that's where he lands this summer.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I do know. I know that Kyrie is going to actually look around and make a thoughtful choice as opposed to just sort of signing there because he got traded there.
He can't go through that no more. What he's been through, it has to be. He got wherever he's going to race. That's where he's going to finish his career.
Well, and the last big choice he made, Brooklyn, didn't work out, right? So I think he knows that he's kind of more in the spotlight to make this one work.
And then he also shows, man, when he's focused on basketball, there's not too many in the world better.
It's going to be a good summer. It's going to be a good playoffs before that. We will be with you every step of the way. You guys out here shooting all the smokes as well. So everybody take a look out for that. And Stak's got his fighting fists on.
Yeah, it's boxing time, baby.
Woohoo!
Tank Davis.
What's Burnin' available every week on Showtime Basketball YouTube.
I'm back up.
Yeah.
Come on.
And on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Show Basketball.
Woohoo, baby!
Yeah, there you go.
See
Good
you
lob.
there.
Tank Davis, King Ryan Garcia.
The power of Davis!
The flash, the hand speed.
Two undefeated stars, two journeys, one mega fight to make history.
It's over! It doesn't get any better than this!
Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia, Saturday, April 22nd, live on pay-per-view.